Hello, and welcome to this Transitioning to Google Workspace webinar. The objective of the session is to review the recent changes Google has made with the introduction of Workspace, and in particular how those affect existing G Suite users. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sean Power, and I'm here in the sales team at Refractive. I've been here nearly 10 years, so I've seen a few changes in the product going all the way back to Google Apps for Business, for those that you can remember that. I do have to say that this is perhaps one of the biggest and most exciting changes throughout all that time, though. The event today will last around 30 minutes, including time for questions at the end. Just pop your questions into the chat box on the right-hand side of the screen, and we'll answer as many as we can at the end. Any we don't have time to answer today will be answered after the event. We'll make a recording available afterwards so you can review the information and share with your colleagues if you wish. Here's an agenda for today. We will spend a bit of time looking at the reasons behind the change, as well as pointing out some of the features which have been released recently or will be in the near future, which you may not have seen. Then we'll talk about the transition process from where you are now with G Suite to where you will be with Workspace. And finally, we discuss the timescales for these changes. So first, let's take a look at the reasons behind the change from a strategic perspective and how Google have addressed the changes to working practices brought about by COVID-19. The COVID lockdown regimes changed the way people work, learn, and teach, and technology has played a large role in making this happen. Imagine how we would have coped without the remote working technology that we have today. The changes are still ongoing. A recent survey by Insight suggests up to 48% of knowledge workers will continue to work remotely even after the COVID crisis is over. And some teams will operate without ever meeting in person. And so the phrase, work is something you do, not somewhere you go, really has never been more relevant. Google has recognized that this change in working practice requires a radical change in the G Suite product range. It has accelerated the move from siloed apps to true app integration that help workers make the most of their time, regardless of where they are working from. With 2.6 billion monthly active users, Google has the scale to make the rapid changes needed to support these new ways of working with their technology. And the speed of innovation this year, particularly in the meat product, has been truly astounding. Generally, the changes can be grouped into three main categories. So first is user experience. This is a new, deeply integrated service across the whole of the G Suite range. And brand identity, a new product name and new icons for the G Suite services have been introduced. And also changes to the product items and the plans available, which will mean a transition for existing G Suite users. The three core themes associated with Workspace are simple, flexible, and helpful. The aim is to increase employee efficiency by providing the tools they need where and when they need them. And being simple means that the tools are intuitive and both seasoned and new users can use them out of the box. The tools are available from anywhere with an internet connection, and this has been the founding principle since day one of the products over a decade ago. And extending this functionality is also a reality with the extensive range of integrations and APIs available. And being helpful means that the tools bring a real advantage to users, providing functions which users can take advantage of wherever they need them. Some of the recent advances in AI within the G Suite range is evidence of this, such as Smart Compose, Smart Reply, Smart Suggestions, voice input, noise reduction, etc. These are all examples of how the tools help the user get things done. The change to working practices ushered in by the increased level of remote working is nothing new, but the unprecedented number of workers spending more time away from the office has shifted working practices, probably, as far as we can see, for the foreseeable future. We have all had to get used to not being physically in an office with our colleagues, and the move to Google Workspace helps with remote collaboration by ensuring that everyone has access to the information that they need and that team members feel valued and that they can have a positive impact on the organization. So the first thing you may notice is a change of branding. And this isn't just a change in name to Workspace. It means new icons for all the Workspace services. Your users has probably seen the changes have come through already, and they'll continue to go through if they haven't yet. And that's particularly on mobile devices. The key change really is a new home for work with a single page providing access to mail, chat, voice and video calling. And better integration between services is also a major factor. And I'll show a short video which shows you some of the things which either you'll see already or are coming in the near future.
Okay, let's get started.
Can we make that orange?
Great, there we go.
Okay. What do you think, Steve? Steve?
So we've seen some of the consolidation of services in Gmail with access to chat, chat rooms and Meet available in a single unified experience. And some of the most interesting changes are connected with the integration of services, such as the ability to grant access to documents in chat, previewing files without opening them, displaying contact details when mentioning someone in a document, etc. And one of my personal favorites is Meet in Picture, which we saw in the video, where Meet calls can be initiated from within documents. And this is a great when you are discussing a document with colleagues or a client. And before you could only view the document and talk in the background. Now you can see the other person in the video and talk whilst viewing the document together. And this gives you the ability to pick up on non-verbal clues during the conversation. And we find it greatly improves the quality of collaboration. So in this section of the event, we'll look at the new Workspace products and your options for transitioning from G Suite. There is quite a lot of detail to go through, and we won't be able to assess every individual situation. So if your circumstances don't fit any of the situations we show here, we can arrange individual calls to discuss them further. The lines have always been blurred between small, medium businesses and enterprise users, and which version of G Suite they should use. And Google's attempted to clarify this with the product plans available in Workspace. So SMB users are typically those with up to 300 users, and beyond that, Google considers that you to be an enterprise customer, and you're encouraged, but importantly not forced to use an enterprise plan. So first we'll take a look at the new SMB products. Business Starter is the old G Suite Basic product and stays pretty much the same. Some additional Meet features are added, such as background blur, but many of the more advanced Meet and collaboration features are not available in this product. Business Standard is probably the closest match to G Suite Business, but it has two major exceptions. Unlimited storage has been replaced with a 2 terabyte storage limit per user, which is pooled across the domain. And this does make much more sense. 99% of users don't reach this level of storage, and pooling it across users improves the convenience. The other major change is the removal of Vault at this level, and this is only available in Business Plus and above. Vault automatically archives any inbound and outbound emails, as well as all documents created by any user. And notably, it is no longer available as an add-on product for either Business Starter or Standard. The ability to record meets is available with Business Standard, and some of you may have noticed that the premium meet features, such as recording and live streaming, are no longer available. Google offered these free of charge at the start of the coronavirus crisis, but this free period has ended now. Shared drives, which used to be team drives, is also introduced at the Business Standard level. Business Plus version offers enhanced security features such as Vault, basic data loss prevention features, which prevents personal and sensitive information such as credit card and national insurance numbers from leaking from the organization. And endpoint security, along with more meet features, are also included in Business Plus. Things are a little bit congested in the enterprise space. The Enterprise Essentials product is aimed at organizations who wish to provide the advanced documents, chat, and video conferencing features of Workspace without replacing their current email and calendar services. The Enterprise Standard version offers an increased level of security features, such as advanced data loss prevention, Cloud Identity Premium, which is an alternative to Microsoft Active Directory, and improved user and domain management features. It also increases the number of users in Meets to 250 and introduces live streaming. Storage isn't unlimited, but starts at 5 terabytes pooled across all users, and additional space can be requested free of charge if needed. This is a bit of change from Google, but 5 terabytes per person should be more than enough. For instance, if you have 300 users, then you'll have a total of 1.5 petabytes capacity. Enterprise Plus builds on the security features of Standard, adding in the Security Center to manage any incidents more effectively. And also available is the Pro version of AppSheet. And if you haven't seen AppSheet, it's well worth looking at. It builds mobile and desktop apps from spreadsheets in a low-code environment, so anyone can build apps. And this is effectively the replacement for App Maker, for those of you who know that, which Google ceased about 12 months ago. Connected Sheets is also available in this version too, and this allows users to access BigQuery in Google Sheets to perform very large data queries. And finally, the ability to archive email data to third-party tools such as Barracuda or Mimecast comes with the Enterprise Plus product. So these are the recommended transition options from your existing G Suite product. I'll explore each route in detail to help you decide which Workspace product is right for your business. And as I mentioned, we are verifying with Google some of the individual client situations, so these recommendations may not be the most suitable for you, but it should give you a guide. If you are currently on G Suite Basic, and I think you've probably got the easiest transition, or the most logical transition. Workspace Business Starter has essentially the same functions as Basic, so it's a natural choice. It doesn't include some of the advanced Meet features, such as recording, polls, question and answers, etc., or the more advanced collaboration features, like Share by Pin and Share Drives. So Business Standard is definitely worth considering if you're currently on this level. Business Plus steps up the security of data held in Workspace through Vault archiving and data loss prevention. And finally, if you have a strong need to stream your Meet events, then Enterprise Standard should be considered. This also includes Cloud Identity Premium, which includes automated user provisioning, app whitelisting, and automated mobile device management. For those of you who are currently using G Suite Business, these are some of the options available. The natural choice is Workspace Business Standard, but there are two differences highlighted earlier. There's no vault for archive and e-discovery, and it's not unlimited storage, although that's not usually a problem given the amount of storage provided. You do get more meet and collaboration features, and these balance out the features not available from Business. If you need the archive and e-discovery features of Vault, then Business Plus is your best choice. And as before, if Meet live streaming or Cloud Identity Premium are needed, then Enterprise Standard may be an option. If you use G Suite Enterprise or use G Suite Business and need to improve your security stance, then one of the Workspace Enterprise products should be your choice. Enterprise Standard offers improved security features over the business versions and includes archiving, data loss prevention, and improved domain security management. It also includes the advanced Meet features and virtually unlimited storage. And Enterprise Plus adds to this third-party email archiving, access to AppSheet Pro, and Security Center for incident management. So again, should be considered for large users. So when will these changes take place? The answer, that depends on which type of contract you are on with Google. If you are on an annual plan, then you will transition at the end of your current term. Multi-year contracts will be honored, and you will transition at the end of the final year. And you can choose to transition to a Workspace plan straight away if you wish, although there are one or two exceptions to this, which we can go through in detail if required. If your contract is a monthly one, then you will transition in January 2021. And again, you can move across earlier if you wish to take advantage of the new products. There aren't any special commercial incentives for you to make the move to Workspace at this time. However, if you can and would consider a multi-year contract, then there are incentives available. And these incentives do depend on the length of the term and the product you are moving to. So it's worth having a discussion with your G Suite and Workspace partner. Okay, so here are some additional notes about the upcoming changes. As I say, it is a bit of a moving target at the moment, but things are starting to solidify. Workspace is not currently available for education and non-profit organizations, although it is expected to be made available in the coming months. In fact, I've seen some announcements in the last few days to clarify this. So basically, you're currently on G Suite and you will remain on G Suite for the foreseeable future, but you will be moving over to Workspace in the near future. Google Voice can be added to all Workspace products, and this is a cloud-based telephony service with deep integration with Workspace. Well worth having a look at if you haven't done that already. We're seeking confirmation from Google regarding G Suite Lite or deskless licenses, and again, we'll notify and publish any recommendations we have when we know more about that. Deskless licenses were used for very large organizations for remote workers. We're thinking true remote workers here, not people working from home. And we also understand that partial domain licensing remains the same as the current terms. And this allows organizations with large numbers of users to have different products for different groups of users. Okay, so hopefully that has added to your understanding of A, why Google has made these changes, and B, how it affects you going forward. As I mentioned previously, there may be some individual circumstances which will require further investigation, and we're happy to discuss that or speak to your Google Workspace partner. We do have some questions, so we'll work through those now. And again, if you've got any more questions, then please just add them into the chat box on the right-hand side. Question from Ifan. What about Google G Suite for non-profits? Yeah, I think I mentioned that on the last slide. We're still trying to solidify the information on that. The moment you'll remain on the G Suite plan that you are on, but we expect it to be a similar plan in Workspace. So non-profits basically got G Suite Basic. We think you'll be on Business Starter at that point, but we're still waiting for confirmation. So we'll try and publish something when we know that. And again, same question from Anne about non-profits. Question from Jade about education, and unfortunately it's the same question at the moment. So you remain on your G Suite plan at the moment. You will transition, as with non-profits, over to Workspace, but those details haven't been published yet. So we will publish something on G Suite Tips and through the Refractive site when we know something. Is AppSheet available for business accounts? Question from Ben. Yeah, it is. It's an add-on product, Ben. So you can add that into your account, and you can use AppSheet across all the products. It's only available with Enterprise Plus. So if you're on a plan that isn't Enterprise Plus, then you can buy it as a separate product. If you want to take a look at that, just let us know. We can sort that out for you. Paul, can you convert a spreadsheet to Microsoft Excel? Yeah, so it's a standard function as it is at the moment in G Suite. You can convert backwards and forwards as you need to between Microsoft and Google formats. Jamie's got a question. Can you add more storage to certain users or the overall pool on Business Standard, or is going to Business Plus the only option to do this? Okay, so with Business Plus, let me just go back to these slides because I think we'll be referring back to these quite a bit. With Business Standard, you get 2 terabytes pooled across all your users. So that means that if one user uses less than 2 terabytes, that goes to another user. And we're finding that most of our G Suite customers get nowhere near that limit in any case. If you do need to add more storage to a particular user, you can still do it. So you're effectively adding it to the user, which also means that it's pooled across between users. A little bit complicated because it has changed, and just a bit of a change from Google, but it does seem to make sense. And going to Business Plus is an option, but frankly, if you need that much storage space, there'll be other options rather than just getting Business Plus just for the additional storage, Jeremy. Question for Ifan. AppSheet for non-profit. Yeah, it's an add-on product, Ifan, so if you need that, let us know. We can get some details to you. Ashley, what storage space does shared drives have? This is an interesting question, Ashley. Thank you for bringing that up. So previously in G Suite Business, it was unlimited storage, which meant you could throw anything into a shared drive and it basically made no difference. We've got a question outstanding with Google at the moment: is who owns the storage in the shared drive? And basically, the information we're getting back at the moment is that it counts towards the pooled storage. So every user gets either 2 terabytes on standard or 5 terabytes on plus. And if they don't use that limit, it goes into a pool which can be used, and that's where the shared drive storage space is used from. So that's as much as we have at the moment. I think that's right, but if anything changes, we'll publish something on G Suite Tips. Question from Francesca. Can you expand on timings? When is the cutoff deadline by when the transition needs to happen? I think I went through that on the last slide. So the final cutoff is January 2021, where any new subscription will be a Workspace subscription. If you're on an annual plan, you'll have to make the change before the end or at the end of your annual plan, including multi-year deals. If you're on a monthly plan, that transition will take place in January. So it depends on what plan you're on, Francesca. Paul, are there any plans to sunset G Suite in the future? Okay, so Workspace becomes G Suite. So if you're talking about the removal of the G Suite branding, then yes, that will go. Everything will be Workspace. In fact, you can see that at the moment. Google seem to have two areas. They have an area for G Suite information and pricing plans, and a Workspace area and pricing plans on their website. But eventually, the G Suite branding will disappear. If you're talking about, are there any plans to remove and stop a Workspace? Certainly nothing's been announced. This is quite a big change. They wouldn't be doing that if they're doing it in the near future. The latest quarterly results, which Alphabet, Google's a parent company, released, they group all cloud products together, which includes Workspace and Google Cloud Platform. And they've accelerated at an enormous rate this year, and they're now a significant part of Alphabet's earnings. So whilst we can never say that it will happen, it won't happen then for the foreseeable future. Workspace will be around. Ben, send you a link. Yes, we'll do that, Ben. If you want a link to AppSheet, you can have a look at that. They've got quite a good website with lots of information, some good examples. Just a bit of background, AppSheet was an independent business, and Google bought them, I think, early this year, about January time, and it's now incorporating into the product. The integration has always been there with Google Sheets. There isn't much integration with Workspace apart from the licensing at the very top end at Enterprise Plus. Okay, a question, will there be webinars for tips for using Google Workspace? Yeah, interesting actually, Amy. We haven't done any webinars for tips for either G Suite or Workspace. So everything is just the tips on G Suite Tips, where you can search for a question and find an answer. But we are starting to put a program together where training or tips and things for Workspace will be available. So that'll be published through the normal routes. So if that's of interest to you, then we'll get some information. Okay, I think that's the end of the question. Let me say what's going to happen now. So at the end of this session, we're going to send you an email with a recording of this session, so you can send it to any of your colleagues or review it if you're desperate to get some more information. If you've got any specific questions or anything we've not covered or anything occurs to you after the session, then please just come back to us. Just reply to that email. That will come through into me, so I'll answer that question for you. We're happy to help. You've probably got your own Google partners. We're, again, obviously a Google partner ourselves, but we're happy to help. If there's any specific questions that you have that we've not answered, or that, as I said, that occur to you, then more than happy to help you. So thank you everyone for turning up, and thank you very much for the questions. Hopefully you've answered the questions that you have, and I say, if there's anything else, then please come back to us. So thank you for your time.